Function f is defined as f of x is equal to the square root of 1 minus 3x, and the function g as the natural log of 2 plus x. We want a rule for the inverse function of f. So let y be equal to the square root of 1 minus 3x, interchange x and y, so x is equal to square root of 1 take 3y, and now we need y to be the subject, so x squared is 1 minus 3y, 3y is equal to 1 minus x squared, so y is going to be 1 minus x squared over 3, so we can say the inverse function is 1 minus x squared over 3. Now we need to think about the domain and the range. So the domain for this function, so what we're not allowed to have is any negatives under here. So 1 minus 3x is going to need to be greater than or equal to 0. So that means that 3x would be less than or equal to 1, so x is less than or equal to 1/3. So that's the domain. That's going to be therefore the range for this one. So we could say y is a real, y is less than or equal to 1/3. Now the range for this function would start at 0 and it will go upwards, except it will go the other way. But the point is that it starts at 0 and goes upwards. And therefore, that's the domain for this function. So x is a real, x is greater than or equal to 0. Determine an expression for f of g of x and state its domain. So if we start off with x and it goes through g, then we are going to get out here ln 2 plus x. That's then going to go into f, and therefore we're going to get the square root of 1 take away 3 ln 2 plus x. So we can say that f of g of x is the square root of 1 take away 3 ln 2 plus x. Now there's two things going on here with the domain. First of all, we must have that 1 take away 3 ln 2 plus x, that's going to need to be positive because we can't have a negative under the square root. So 3 ln 2 plus x has got to be less than or equal to 1. Ln 2 plus x has got to be less than or equal to 1/3, which means 2 plus x has got to be less than or equal to e to the 1/3, so x is less than or equal to e to the 1/3 take away 2. But the other thing is we can't have a negative under the logarithm, or even 0. So what we must have is that 2 plus x is greater than 0, and therefore x is greater than negative 2. So we must have that x is greater than negative 2 and less than or equal to e to the 1/3 take 2.